Perfect great hold bonuses. How do you get these? Well, it's a lot of grinding. A lot of grinding, guys. I've been playing the game way back since 2019, and it took me quite a while to farm this one. So I want to show you guys my team that I used way back then to farm it as quickly as possible and see how it fares here in 2023, almost 2024, just a couple of months away. Does it still stand? Can you still use it as a team to push through? It's called the Blender team. If you guys never heard of it, I made videos way back. I made multiple videos on the Blender teams, but I wanted to see like an updated version, whether this can work and what difficulties it finds. I already know some of them like in my head, but we're gonna see it live today in action and have some fun with the team. The idea is behind using two specific heroes. Well, it's 4 heroes, 4 champions in the team. And it's the synergy between everybody together that makes it work. But the gear requirement for this sort of team is quite reasonable. And let's go and have a look at what I mean. Vikingard is a Viking / Nordic mythology RPG game with a more casual and strategic gameplay experience. It's currently running its Halloween promotions, and soon enough it's going to run its Thanksgiving ones and Christmas ones. So there's a lot of events going on and will be going on, so it's the best time to join in. So download the game through the link down below in the description and comments of the video. In Vikingard, you can of course manage and develop your Viking tribe, recruit various different heroes, and build a powerful fleet to explore the 9 realms of mythology within the game, and also find the lost artifacts to make your combat power stronger. Face legendary monsters such as dragons, krakens, Fenris, and more, and form a strong alliance with other players to fight in a weekly alliance clash. And for a more casual gameplay experience, you can farm, mine, feed your pets. There's many different pets within the game, and currently for the Halloween themed events, there's going to be some new pumpkin themed kittens and pumpkin warriors to collect, as well as for the first time ever vampire enemies to fight throughout. And if you can manage to beat the vampire lord, you can actually acquire him. So what are you waiting for? Download the game right now. There's going to be links in the description and comments of the video. I'm gonna go open here the arena. Let's refresh the list and see what opponents we're gonna have and test things out. So this is a Blender team. It doesn't have to be this necessary 4 heroes, but I'm just giving an example. A big thing to have is always to have a speed booster with an increased attack. There's not that many in the game, and the perfect example to use is Arbiter. If you don't have Arbiter yet, you can use other champions such as one of the epics called Gorgorab in the Undead Hordes. You can check him out. He has the same skill as Arbiter, but not the same amount of boost in turn meter, and not the same amount of base speed and aura as well for the arena. And then the next champion that you also need, I would say, would be Farrakhan the Fat. Farrakhan the Fat is an ally attacker that can draw his whole team to go in there and attack with their basic skill, and that's where things become very interesting. So he is key for this one because he allows us to use much worse gear than usual, because we don't need 30% crit rate because he buffs it, and then we also get a boost on crit damage by another 30%. So he provides a big buff in damage to my 2 damage dealers, which will be the double combo of the 2 sisters, Skullcrown and Sinesha. Skullcrown attacks twice because she's hitting enemies that are over 50% health 2 times. That does that extra hit. And then Sinesha does the opposite because Skullcrown has moved. She hits enemies twice because the enemies are under 50% health. So if all works as we expect, we get 4 hits of their default skill going on to the enemies. And the beautiful thing about this is that you don't build any speed on Skullcrown and Sinesha. You just build them with damage at 70% crit rate. And I'll show you guys the gear right now. It's basically this sort of gear. Where is my Skullcrown? You don't need the blessings, by the way. This is just an added bonus, but this is the sort of gear that you're looking for. 70% crit, and then I just added a lot of crit damage and a lot of attack. You don't need these numbers to do what I will be doing. This is just me giving you guys an example. Obviously, you won't have the speeds if you're still struggling. You won't have, 400 speed on your speed booster, but whatever you have, it's gonna work. So Sinesha, it's the same example. Very low speed, good amount of attack, difficult to get it up to that point because she's got a low base at 892, and your gear only boosts based on your base. It doesn't boost your overall damage with whatever percentage you're getting. So 272 crit damage, that's still good. We have Talon Smasher on both these sort of masteries. These help with ignoring defense at a 50% chance. And then Firekin is basically built for speed. You don't need masteries on him, and you don't need to have all of the speed that I have, 328. He is just speed tuned for this specific role. And what speed tuning is that if I manage to get my turn with Arbiter, Firekin will pretty much always get his turn, and then he'll be able to use his ally attack skill. And that's why you don't need speed gear on any of the other champions. And here's my Arbiter. She's built with a ton of speed, 386, but again, you don't need all of this. It's just because I'll be fighting teams that can be quite fast, I thought I might as well showcase it in these fast scenarios. So I'll be the person who goes first every single time. So let's go and see how good this team is. The reason that this team is so good, I'm just gonna give it, is because it's very fast in what it does. It's in killing the enemies. It's very, very fast. The only thing that's going to be annoying is enemies with unkillables, all right? Because that's just going to delay your team winning by a couple of seconds. So we're going in there and we're farming at an amazing pace and just melting through the enemies, especially enemies here who don't even have like a speed booster. You're just cruising through, and you see all the numbers. You'll see 4 numbers popping up on your screen. That's double hit from Skullcrown and a double hit from Sinesha. Look at that. Sometimes we don't even get, you know, Sinesha doing her own thing, but you already notice how immediately I have grinded on 4 teams, and it's a very easy way for me to grind for the forge materials that I need, and also if I still need it, to grind for the Great Hole bonuses, which for me, I don't need them. Does this team work on live arena? I don't think you could go in live arena with this, because it's very easy for the enemy to ban something that is key for your team. They can ban, let's say, your Skullcrown. They can ban your speed booster. They can ban your ally attack champion. You need all these key champions together in order to make this work. And if they ban one of the key things, it completely breaks your potential to make this as something that you're gonna go for. That's why you'll see tankier teams more than anything else going into the live arenas. But the classic arena, where it's just you farming on teams and you want to just melt through those refreshers that you have, this is like the perfect example to follow. This is the way to farm, and I don't accept anything else, honestly, because of the requirement in gear that you need. You need just 70% crit, and then you boost everything else. If you are the slower person in the speed fight, because you are going your speed booster versus their speed booster, there are some blessings that you can use as an alternative, okay? And this is the blessing that this Arbiter has. Is an example. I'll show you guys what I mean. Let's see if I do have it. I've got it on my soul list, but this is the Intimidating Presence. Strengthens your team's aura and weakens the enemy's aura. So this gives you more speed if it's a speed aura, and decreases the speed that they get from their aura, as an example. And there's an epic version of that as well, but the epic version does not provide all of this. It just strengthens your own aura. It's the Commanding Presence, so it strengthens your own aura. It does not make the enemy aura weaker. So that's one example that you can use if you want to be winning more of the speed fights versus enemies. There's another one blessing that you can use, but it's only, I believe, for legendaries. So if you are using maybe like a legendary ally attack champion, you can do that. It's where is it? It's Temporal Chains. Yeah, decreases each enemy's speed for each active buff they're under, except for the buffs placed at the start of the round. So active buffs. So if they manage to get a turn and they use their skills that provide buffs to the whole team, those buffs will be decreasing their own speed. So this is also a very, very nice and solid blessing to have. Everything else, I think I prefer using cruelty instead of for damage dealer. I prefer using cruelty instead of anything else for blessings. So the reason that I'm using cruelty on my epics is because, well, first things first, this can be used in other dungeons and stuff that I use them, but the other important thing is that if I, let's say, used Crushing Rend of them, this is only for the first hit in each round and doesn't give me that much of a benefit. 1% defense for every 25 levels. If I have them on 5-star, which I do have my Skull Crown, that's what, 2.5%, almost 2.5% ignoring defense. It doesn't look that good. But if I have Cruelty on, so this decreases target defense by 2% per hit, and I'll be double hitting on the enemy. So that's 4% defense dropped immediately by Skull Crown. And then when Sinesha hits, the enemy will have already 4% less defense because of that initial hit by Skull Crown. So I think this, especially for fights that might go a little bit longer, that I think that Cruelty is a little bit better. So another solid example of how I'm going to use this. It's a very quick way. I just love using this team instead. The only issues, as I said, is if you're faster, if they are faster, you're probably going to lose it. But it's fine. As long as you can farm these teams as quickly as possible, like 10-second runs, you should be fine. This is a good example of maybe we'll have some issues. Harima provides this. Ignore effects, defense effects are decreased by 50%, plus a Duchess, which reduces damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks. Plus, if they have something like a bolster set in there, or a shield set, or a stone skin, it will just make my life much harder. But this guy didn't have any of those, so it was a little bit easier. But you see already, we couldn't get through to that Duchess. It was just very difficult for us to get through to that Duchess. I'll try to find like another tanky team. This is also very tanky. My boy here, Pythion, provides allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff on them. So if he's got bolster, stone skin, or anything like that, it's going to help them through. Also, my boy Rotos here cannot get one-shot. We don't do one-shot skills with any of my champions, but it's just another layer of protection that he has. And if he gets like a big damage burst on him, he'll get an immediate extra turn and jump in and start hitting on you. We also have the very annoying Ultimate Death Knight. We'll be doing AoE skills, but he can also remain annoying. So let's see if we can actually beat this one. This is going to be a very tanky team. If this is built right, it should be very tanky. It wasn't built right. They needed a bolster set in there. But there's the first revive. Right, there's our AoEs. We managed to drop down the annoying reviver. And we're just left with UDK's very, very annoying stone skin. So we'll see how that goes for him. How long we can manage to survive. Because if I'm being fair, you know, it can get very difficult to push through shielded targets, which I haven't found many. Maybe this one will have more shielded targets. This one doesn't even have damage healers. I'm surprised a little bit. It's a small shield there. Reaction gear is also something that you need to be careful of, but obviously you won't know on when you'll see the reaction. The good thing is that if you're building this sort of team, if your goal is to be maxing out your Great Hole bonuses, this shouldn't really worry you, because tons of reaction gear, tons of bolster, tons of stone skin, this is not something that you'll need to worry yourself with. What you'll need to be doing is just farming your Great Hole bonuses, farming the classic arena fights over and over again. And what you will need to do, this, is just have a single person defense here. Don't have your normal defense. Just drop everybody, put an uncommon champion in there, not Armiger, all right? Put an uncommon champion in there and let it get hit over and over, so that you are actually dropping in terms of rating, and you are remaining within the easier teams, okay? You want people to hit you. You want to be losing rating. As long as you are within tier 4 and tier 5, you're fine. You're still farming 4 medals per win. It's perfect. I also think that they should add the fact that you can get like 1 medal per loss. That should be something that needs to be included in the game. But it's Plarium, so we know it's not. They just won't bother, honestly. So let's see if we actually find a proper team. Stone skin there and the damage dealer it's kind of a bad idea, because look at that, we just melt through it. It really depends on the hero. Like if it was a Hefrag, maybe he would have survived and then drop his own big burst of damage and kill us, but he didn't. They didn't. And let's see how long it takes to kill off this. There's UDK. I'm gonna use up a few of my gems here and see if we can get a refresh going. Let's see, tankier targets. We need tankier targets just to be showcased in the video. So here, tankier target, the revive is gonna come through. Look at that, the reactions proccing as well. Did you see it? It's still beautiful. Just look at that. It's still beautiful, because even if they revive, unless it's like a Seafood reviving or a what's her name, Cardinal, they won't have the Terminator to go before your Skullcrag and Sinesha, who have like 140 speed. So look at this, beautiful. Even push through on that Duchess. That is crazy. That is crazy. So here, another speed team here. This would have been very risky if I'm being honest. But look at that, we're pushing through. We do have good gear though. It's like you gotta build them with Savage. You gotta farm them with Fire Knight. If you want to make a team that has the least, you know, not resistance, but the least possibilities of losing, you gotta build your damage dealers with Savage. You gotta find cruel sets that those drop from the clan boss. You gotta be pushing to get that edge wherever you can. It's not easy, I know. It's all about the grind, and the gear is the big part of the game. So you build this sort of team and you're just sitting back. How many fights did I farm in the 10 minutes that I'm recording and talking through? There's no point in discussing what the enemies have. If I get my turn, I'll try and beat them. So look at this. This was like a delayed fight, 8 seconds. The only annoying ones are the ones where the enemies have some kind of unkillable or stone skin. It just delays it too much. This is a double Duchess. I don't know what this guy was thinking with all of this, but it's a very tanky team. This should be the longest one we've done yet. I don't think we might not even win, actually, if I'm being honest, because it's gonna be revives all day. And if Battle Khazar gets his turn, he'll cleanse and provide heal over time. We're already dropping a little bit. My Sinesha also has that health equalization skill. Look at this. It's looking all right, but it's not the best. It's not the best. Look at that, 38 seconds. If I had something that could remove stone skin, even though it's like a 50-50 chance, that would have been quicker, like using a Madame Ceres team. But the beautiful thing about this is that you only need 2 fast champions. 2 fast champions. One to be very close to your speed booster. Obviously not with the speeds that I have, but they just need to be speed tuned. And if you search on my last videos or what speed tuning is for Arena, you'll get an idea behind what that is. It's basically using the Deadwood Jedi Arena calculator. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check that one out. It's all about putting in the right speeds for everybody and building them with enough speed so that they follow through with each other and do not let the enemy team take a turn. So here, look at this. Look at how tanky this Duchess is. But because of the cruelty blessings, they're losing out on defense all the time from our multi-hits that we are doing. And we're just pushing through way easier than we thought. And look at this, beautiful. Just left with that that UDK there, just standing, hitting us a little. Jesus, that's not a support, that's a nuke. Idea for a video, maybe a UDK with stone skin, instead of stone skin with like a Savage and stuff. That could be fun. All right, that was it. We cleaned through 2 refreshes, 2 full refreshes. Look at this, not a single defeat. And how long did this take? 17 minutes for 20 wins. Okay, 17 minutes is what I'm recording so far. We got 20 wins. We did 1 refresh, extra refresh, and we picked up 80 medals. I think that's a good amount to get in this. I don't think you can get it faster than that unless you have some godly type of combo. And what you can do after this is done is you wait it out. All right, you wait it out. You get hit. You drop down a little bit because of your 1-person defense. You won't have a strong defense, so people will be choosing to attack you. And when they do, they'll lose. All right, so perfect team, I would say, even in 2023. Perfectly holds, unless you find, you know, bolsters and stone skins every single time, which you won't, especially if you're still building your account. This was the video, guys. Thank you all. Leave me down your thoughts below on the comment section for the video, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.